Now it's time to break it.
Welcome back to the SplitScreeners podcast. My name is Nick.
It's been so long.
Ow! Joined as always by my co-host, Zach.
How do you do?
And Aaron. Hello. Gavin's not with us this week. As you'll be able to tell by how quiet the room is from last episode. He's feeling under the weather. Gavin, we miss you. Can't wait to have you back next week. Don't even think you watched these.
He doesn't. He might this week just because he's not here. But
Just making sure we're not talking shit about him.
yeah, I knew it.
We're going to talk about sports in this episode, so we'll hop right into that. We have the biggest football game of the year that just got over a couple hours ago. We're going to get into that.
The Hall of Fame Bowl.
Before we get into that, though,
Dumb question of the day.
dumb question of the episode. Favorite Nickelodeon show of all time?
Oh, that's easy.
After the Last Airbender.
Never mind, it's not easy. Fuck.
Got to keep you guys on your toes for this.
I'm sorry. Hands down.
Touche.
I was actually I was getting ready to make a TikTok about that today.
Well, now that might be my number one. I was about to say, easy, Invader Zim.
Oh.
Because I really love
Still Avatar.
Invader Zim. But Avatar is on a whole nother
Wait.
level.
Avatar.
The Ovatar.
Long.
You both bring up great options. But I had to pull up a list to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Peruse your list real quick. Hey, Arnold!
Move it, football head!
Who? Rocco's Modern Life.
Ren
and Stimpy.
Cat Dog.
Cat Dog.
Oh, Rocket Power.
There are some good classics.
Rocket Power would be a number 4 for me.
This would be
Rugrats
easier doing a top 5.
Would be 3.
I need a top
Invader Zim.
5 for this question. But if I'm picking my number 1, Avatar's going to edge the others out.
Cat.
I think my number 1 would be Rugrats. I do love Avatar. But
I didn't even see that on the list.
I love
I just
I
said
need a top
Rugrats.
5. Sorry, I was enraged
I'm like-
with you.
Rocket Power, Rugrats, Invader Zim, Avatar, Last Airbender.
Yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
You know, I'm not the biggest
Doesn't
fan.
make my top 5. I'm not either.
I don't know if it makes my top 5 either. Alright, Aaron.
God. But what?
I thought you were about to name your top 5.
Oh, am I going to do my 5?
If you have them, go for it.
Shit. I don't know now. Avatar. Invader Zim.
Oh, Chalk Zone was so good.
Let me see.
Oh, Chalk Zone.
God, yeah.
Rugrats,
Yeah, that's good.
Avatar, Rocket Power.
Well, you said Nickelodeon cartoon, though.
Fuck.
Yeah, not live action.
Yeah, because like all that might make my top 5 if I was doing.
Fuck, I loved
I was going to say
that.
Fresh Prince.
Wasn't Nickelodeon.
Wasn't
I thought it was
they,
at least Nick at Night.
they just did
They
reruns
did
on
reruns.
Oh.
They were not the original.
Fairly Odd Parents,
Fuck. There's
and I'm gonna go Jimmy Neutron.
So I will go
Jimmy Neutron.
Avatar,
Okay.
Invader Zim,
Okay.
Rugrats, Rocco's Modern Life,
Okay.
Ren and Stimpy.
All great shows.
Not
Stimpy,
necessarily in that
I didn't
order.
When I asked this question, like SpongeBob was the first thing that popped in my head. That's why I went with it.
Was All Real Monsters Nickelodeon?
I feel like it was.
I think so.
Sounds really good too.
Was Courage the Cowardly Dog Nickelodeon?
No, that
Okay,
was
Cartoon
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. Okay, cool.
Which is a whole nother list.
Yeah, SpongeBob was the first thing that popped in my head. I didn't even think about other Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah, you said Nickelodeon, and I just instantly went Invader Zim because for the longest time that was my go-to.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just hop into the biggest thing. I know that Zach watched it. Aaron was on his way home from Denver, so he didn't get a chance to check it out. I went and watched it up with my in-laws, and that's the Super Bowl. Zach, we'll start with you. What did you think? You watched the whole thing over here with your wife, and
Wildly fun game to watch. I was going for the Bengals. My wife was going for the Rams. Obviously, she got the winning team. But it was really close. There was a lot of like wild plays and like stuff you kind of see in college games. From what I saw, the highlight for me was that the guy who was catching the ball for the kick, for the I think it was the extra point, the second extra point kick. Not catching the ball properly and then taking it away as the guy was about to go and kick it and then fumbling it.
Yeah.
We both stood up from our chairs like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, that's legal. Keep running. Keep running.
It was a weird feeling this year because every year I kind of go in with I always have like a team that I need to have win. And then there have been so many years where I have left my in-laws just super upset or angry because the team I was going for didn't win. This one was cool because I would have been okay with either of these teams winning. I was rooting for the Rams, like I've said in many episodes. Von Miller plays for him. That's my favorite player of all time. And to see him win a second one was super cool. The game overall was a blast start to finish, man.
Yeah.
The Rams struck early for a touchdown. It was close going into halftime, 13-10 going into halftime with the Rams up. The Bengals come out first play of the second half and throw a touchdown.
I was an idiot and decided to go to the bathroom at that point because I'm like, all right, the trailer that I'm waiting for didn't play during the halftime show like I was thinking it was going to, so I'm going to use this as a moment to go to the bathroom. All of a sudden I hear Steph screaming from the front, like, holy shit, first play! I'm like, what's going on?
It was wild. Joe Burrow hits, God bless it, hits his receiver.
I can't
T.
remember.
Higgins, thank you. My brain. Hits T. Higgins deep on a touchdown to start the second half. They take the lead. It almost looked like they were going to win it there for a while because they were just, every time the Rams got the ball, the Cincinnati defense was playing so well.
Like a brick wall.
Los Angeles goes down with like 1:30 left in the game, scores a touchdown, Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp, and that kind of iced the game with 1:30 left since he got the ball back and just wasn't able to drive it downfield. Aaron Donald actually disrupt a throw on fourth down to cause the turnover and downs and give the Rams the ball back. A fun game. I love close games in the Super Bowl. Close games where both teams score. The last time the Rams won the Super Bowl, they played the Patriots, and the final score was like 13-9. It was so boring. This one was exciting. It had fun moments. Congratulations to the Rams.
Yeah.
I read a story before we started that Van Jefferson, he plays receiver for the Rams, left right after the Super Bowl because his wife went into labor at the game and got rushed to the hospital because she was going to late.
Can you imagine as a sport, like as an athlete, a more perfect day? The day you won the Super Bowl and
your child
born?
Yeah.
Phenomenal
and great for Van Jefferson. Great for that whole team. Cooper Kupp wins Super Bowl MVP. Well-deservingly.
I called that.
He basically single-handedly led that drive at the end of the game to score the touchdown. It seemed like he was catching everything that final drive.
He was doing so well that my wife actually memorized his name. It was like, oh, there's Kupp. He's going to get it.
It was super fun. Most of my fiance's family was going for the Bengals. So there was only a couple of us cheering for the Rams. And again, I was okay either way, but it was super fun.
I voted for the Rams. I figured they'd win. I was hoping the Bengals would do it, though.
I was going for the underdog.
It would have been cool to see the team that had never won one. Outside of that, the halftime show was phenomenal. One of the best I've ever seen. It started with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. We got a surprise appearance by 50 Cent. Mary J. Blige showed up. Eminem was there. Kendrick Lamar was there. As far as like a hip-hop perspective is concerned, you're talking about some of the all-time greats in hip-hop all sharing the stage together.
I consider myself a metalhead, but in middle school, this is the kind of music I was listening to with my friends back in the day. With the exception of Mary J. Blige. But all those songs they were playing just took me right back to middle school, trying to be a gangster in rural North Dakota.
Really, the only downside to the Super Bowl this year was the commercials, and it's something that I talk about almost every year. It seems like every year they get worse and worse. There were a couple that were really good. I loved the Austin Powers one. Even though the Arnold Schwarzenegger commercial was lame, it was cool seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in a Super Bowl commercial.
It was just a letdown.
Yeah.
For what it could have been.
But overall, I mean, nothing memorable. Nothing that next year when the Super Bowl comes around, I'm going to be like, well, they didn't have any commercials like this one, like last year.
And then the big trailers, a lot of like the big ones, the Marvel ones, they played super early.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange one played before the game even started.
Almost everything
Yeah,
either came out days ago or right before.
Yeah, Dominion came out days ago.
Yeah.
I think the Sonic one came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
See here. Well, that's all I can think of off the top of my head right
Yeah, there was more, but yeah.
Fresh Prince, I guess, or Bel Air.
I still haven't watched that one.
The National Anthem singer, two things. First of all, gorgeous voice. She did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the over-under for her singing time was 1:35. She went about 16 seconds over 1:51. So, if anybody bet on the over, congratulations. You won some money on that one.
She did mispronounce the word during the song, though.
Did she?
Yeah. And Steph pointed it out. I'm like, don't make fun of it. It's an anthem. Can't do that.
Yeah, I had so much fun, and it's always fun going up to the in-laws. It's become my tradition since Tori and I have gotten together. I've been going up there for the Super Bowl for every year for like the last 6 years, and it's always so much fun. And
I've missed the last 2 years.
I'm always me, so I gotta find out the team. Unless it's somebody like I can't root for, like the Patriots or the Chiefs. I have to find the team that everybody else is rooting for and make sure I root for the other team because that's just who I am as a person. So,
Unless it's the Broncos.
Yeah, of course. But nobody up there's going against the Broncos anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I would.
outside of Braden. No, super fun. Super great way to end the season. I really thought for a second, since he was going to go down and kick a field goal and send it into overtime, I think that would have been super cool. Would have meant that we would be starting recording even later. So probably a good thing it didn't go.
Who was the one that got injured again?
Odell Beckham. He caught the first touchdown of the game. Beautiful touchdown grab. And then, ends up hurting his leg later in the game, doesn't come back. Seemed like he was fine. He was walking around on the sideline, and he wasn't on crutches, so I don't think it was anything super serious. But
and I think Burrow had like a close call.
Him and Stafford. So both quarterbacks, almost within probably 5 minutes of each other, had their ankles rolled up on, and you could tell they were in some pain.
Yeah.
But they both played through it, and I mean, it's the biggest game of your career. You're not gonna sit out
unless they're dragging you off the field. You're gonna want to play.
This is great for so many players for the Rams organization. Matt Stafford, as we've talked about, was the quarterback for the Lions for such a long time. He was drafted in 2009 out of Georgia. The Lions, just a crappy dog shit, frankly.
Dog shit.
Played like dog shit.
They weren't ever able to win, and it wasn't Stafford's fault. Stafford's a great quarterback, and he proved that this year. He won a Super Bowl for the Rams, but just never had the help around him in Detroit. First season he goes to the Rams, and he wins a Super Bowl. That's a great story. Again, Von Miller, getting up there in age. I mean, he was drafted in 2011. He's in his 30s now. He was able to make an impact. He had a couple sacks. Aaron Donald was drafted 2012. Talked about this could be his last game that he ever plays. Andrew Whitworth becomes the third oldest player ever to play in a Super Bowl. Left tackle. He was drafted to the Bengals, played a lot of his career for Cincinnati. Cincinnati, kind of like Detroit, never really did anything in the playoffs or anything. He goes to Los Angeles, wins the Super Bowl. Now he can kind of retire off into the sunset. And so many more. I mean, Jalen Ramsey played for the Jaguars, another crappy organization, finally gets his shot with a team like the Rams and wins a Super Bowl. So this was awesome for a lot of these players that I think really deserve it. Beckham is another one.
I do have a kind of silly question. I still haven't really learned everyone's names. They're slowly come to me and I'm getting better at it. Is there really a player on the Rams, I think it was, with the last name Sample?
Drew Sample, Bengals.
Bengals.
Drew Sample, he's one of their tight ends.
I thought he just had a bad jersey or something.
Nope.
He left his good jersey.
Sample jersey.
I'm like, is this the placeholder for the real jersey?
Yeah, it's just a sample.
Nope, that's Drew Sample. Doesn't play a whole lot, but yeah, I always love seeing funny names on the back of jerseys.
I think there was an Apple.
Yeah, Eli Apple.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati will be back. That's the thing. Brooks, who will eventually be on an episode of this podcast. I was hoping it was going to be this week, but with his work schedule, it's hard to get in here. He was really rooting for the Bengals. And it's the same thing I told Brooks. This isn't going to be the last time we see the Bengals make a run for the playoffs. Joe Burrow is so young. This is only his second year in the league. To go to the Super Bowl as a second-year quarterback is amazing, especially last season he tore his ACL, so he didn't even play all last year. So he'll be back. The NFL is so stacked with talent right now; it's amazing. And Cincinnati's one of the better teams in football. So
he's gonna watch that last play of the Super Bowl constantly and drill that, fill it into his mind, and try to be back next year.
And they definitely could be. Even the coach for the Rams, Sean McVay. That was the other thing. I saw something about him that he said that he wants to focus on his family. He might retire. He was one of the youngest head coaches in football. But, I mean, he won the Super Bowl. That's kind of your goal. And if he wants to get out and start his family and live a life, congratulations to him.
Retire or ask for more money. You won a Super Bowl. You can ask for more money.
And they've been to 2 since he's been there. So, super great game. Good job, NFL. Now we're transitioning into my favorite part of football. Obviously, I love watching the games.
Oh, wait a second.
I love watching the games and stuff, but I love the offseason, man. There's so much that's going to happen for the next 4 months between the draft and free agency and players retiring and stuff like that. And it's always so much fun to try and keep up on everything. So I will be hitting all of that news every week. I don't know the exact date free agency starts. It's going to be probably sometime March, I think. So we'll keep up on that. We're going to start doing mock drafts on here, so we'll get some of those in. But yeah, this is one of the most fun times of the season, is that kind of off season where you're getting in all the moves and stuff like that. So, but not the only football news we had this week. Before the Super Bowl, the day before, 2 days before Friday, they always do the NFL Awards show where they announce MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. So I thought we'd go over some of those awards, just the big ones. I know that...
I'm just burpy.
Oh. I know that... What was I going to say?
You were on awards, and you know that...
Nope. Nothing. Rookie of the Year, Cincinnati Bengals receiver Jamar Chase. We saw him quite a bit in the Super Bowl. He caught quite a few passes in the Super Bowl. Just played outstanding. The cool thing about Jamar Chase is in the preseason he was having an issue with drops, where he was having a hard time catching the football and securing the football. And I remember watching a lot of sports talk shows and listening to podcasts where people were like, "Is Jamar Chase going to be a bust? He can't catch the football." And now he's Rookie of the Year. He had a phenomenal season. T.J. Watt from the Steelers wins Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase. Offensive Player of the Year, we saw him in the Super Bowl too. We just talked about him, Cooper Kupp. Phenomenal season. He led the league in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns. He broke a couple records this season. Just an absolute stud. He definitely deserved to win Super Bowl MVP. Definitely deserved to win Offensive Player of the Year. I thought he might actually win MVP. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons. This kind of was a two-horse race between Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys, Pat Surtain from the Broncos. Both of them played well. Micah Parsons was just an absolute menace this season. He was all over the field for the Cowboys, a real difference maker for this team. They announced the Hall of Fame class, and we've got some good names in there. Richard Seymour, Cliff Branch, Tony Baselli, Leroy Butler, Sam Mills, Bryant Young, Art McNally, Dick Vermeil. So we'll see that. That's usually the first week of the preseason. They do the Hall of Fame email, and they'll do the Hall of Fame. Comeback Player of the Year. We just talked about that one too. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, tore his ACL last year. Came back this year and led his team all the way to the Super Bowl as a second-year player. It's one of the more impressive things I've ever seen from a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, ACL, that's one of the biggest injuries that you can have in sports. You're looking at 8 to 12 month recovery window where you've got to like completely retrain your leg and get all those muscles back in your leg and everything. So it's a long process, and for him to not only come back from that injury but to come back and lead the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl is incredible. Broncos fullback Andrew Beck won the Salute to Service Award. It's always presented to military members that play football. Andrew Beck in the military, so congratulations to Andrew Beck. MVP, that's the other big one. And Aaron Rodgers. This was funny. He was at a golf event, I think, last weekend. And of course, all the award winners know that they're going to win ahead of time. Kind of like any other award show. I think that you already know, so you can have speeches planned and stuff. And he gets announced at the golf game, and they go, NFL MVP, 3-time NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers. And he holds up 4 fingers because he knew he was going to win. So the guy makes the announcement, and he goes, correction, 4-time NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers. So... and that's going to be something that we track a lot during this offseason is kind of what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. I think that's one of the bigger storylines. Obviously, we've talked about them potentially coming to Denver because they just got his offensive coordinator in Denver. I've heard a lot of things that potentially he retires because I don't know if he wants to play for the Packers anymore if they can't get a trade done. Pittsburgh is an option. I've heard that thrown out a lot. Tampa Bay now that Tom Brady is gone because they still have that window open.
Yeah.
That Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is so good. They need a quarterback that can lead them. Indianapolis. This one's kind of my pick. It's under the radar. It's not something I hear a lot of people talk about as far as places Aaron Rodgers should go, but he has a really good relationship with Pat McAfee, who was the Indianapolis Colts punter for a long time, does a fantastic podcast. And I think the Colts are another team that are right there. They just need a quarterback could take them over the top, and Aaron Rodgers could be that. So we'll be following that really closely this offseason. But congratulations to everybody that won awards. That's rad. We had a couple more coaching hires. Oh, there it is. I think we're all full now, so this should be the last time I'm talking about head coaches. The Saints hired Dennis Allen. He was their defensive coordinator. He steps up to become the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. We've already talked about the Giants. We've already talked about the Bears. Dolphins hire Mike McDaniel. He served as San Francisco's run game coordinator from 2017 to 2020 and 1 season as the 49ers offensive coordinator, which means he was under head coach... Oh, shit. What is his first name?
Ivan?
Hold on. We're gonna get there.
Too soon.
Terry.
I'm gonna get there. You guys just talk amongst yourselves. Or don't. Kyle Shanahan.
There we go.
Woo! Damn.
Shenanigans.
Son of Broncos coach Mike Shanahan, one of the best head coaches in football right now. So, anytime you see a head coach like that who is performing really well, his coordinators always get taken because obviously those coordinators have learned a lot from that head coach. So the Dolphins are hoping that Mike McDaniel's learned a lot from Kyle Shanahan, who obviously took the Niners on a deep run in the playoffs this year. Raiders we talked about last week. Jacksonville we've talked about. Houston hired Lovie Smith. He was their defensive coordinator. I think I brought that up that they were interviewing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So head coaching vacancies, I think, are just about filled. So, yeah, once we're through head coaches, they're going to start going through scouting and stuff like that. And like I said, free agency will start soon. Another thing, we don't usually talk about anything else but football on here, but now that football's over, go for it.
I'll say, right before we transition from football,
Yeah.
I know on our picks each week, I got first place, but
Oh!
we were
Yeah, thank you.
getting ready to figure out second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, so before this week, Zach was at 63, Aaron was at 48, I was at 45, Gavin was at 47. Low moment in life for me there, being in last place. But this week really helped me out. Aaron and I were the only two that took the Rams. Zach and Gavin both took the Bengals. So that means final point tally would be Zach at 63, Aaron at 53, I'm at 50, Gavin's at 47, so at least I'm not in last place. That makes me so happy.
Came out.
You were the true underdog story right there.
I'm excited for next season because next season we'll have the whole season to make picks, and so by the end, we're gonna have hundreds of points, which will be.
We should get like a whiteboard or a poster board. Let's post it somewhere.
We'll do that.
Maybe like right behind over here. We'll put it up so people can see. Yeah, I'm excited for next season. This season, obviously, we started we started recording after Thanksgiving, so we only had a few weeks left of the season. So next season will be a lot of fun. Congratulations to Zach on winning. We were talking at work.
Congratulations. It was a good fight.
Yeah, it was.
We were talking at work, and I think I'm going to buy a WWE title belt, like a real WWE title belt.
Fuck yeah.
And
I'm just going to carry that around everywhere.
It's going to probably change hands. We'll use it for a bunch of stuff, so like you'll get it now. But like if we do WWE predictions, whoever wins the WWE predictions for the week can have it.
Or other challenges.
Yeah.
We'll also have a tag team belt. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that'll be a lot
for various
of
things.
I want my belt now.
I need to find out.
This was just the practice. You'll have fiercer competition next time.
Yeah. Not from me, probably. I overthink things too much.
Gavin's coming for you.
Yeah, he is. It's going to be all animals next year.
It's going to have a different
The year of the animals.
Yeah, we don't usually... WWE and NFL are kind of my main focus here, and that's because those are two of my favorite things on the planet, especially when it comes to the sports world. But we did have the trade deadline for the NBA, so I thought we'd go over some of the bigger trades. I don't want to go over all of them. There were a lot of minute ones. The biggest one, obviously, Philadelphia 76ers and the Nets made a trade. The 76ers traded for James Harden and Paul Millsap. They ended up giving up Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks.
Damn.
This is a big haul, but James Harden is one of the best basketball players in basketball. Ben Simmons was a player that had become kind of overplaying in Philadelphia. He hasn't played a game all season just because he refused to play for Philadelphia. And it was kind of becoming the same way with James Harden in Brooklyn, where he just kind of didn't want to be there. So this trade kind of works out for both teams. I know that realistically, the 76ers are getting the better player in James Harden because obviously, like I said, top 5 at his position definitely in the league. But I think the Nets made out really well here. They're getting a player in Ben Simmons who can't score a whole lot but plays really good defense, is a good playmaker, can get rebounds for you. He's going to come in immediately and start. Seth Curry, one of the better three-point shooters in the league. Andre Drummond, one of the best rebounders in the league. You get a couple first-round picks in there. The Sixers, though, you already have a team that's good with Joel Embiid, who's been an absolute stud this season, MVP candidate, and you're throwing him in with a player that is so much different from Ben Simmons. We've seen so much of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and they're two guys that aren't going to space the floor and hit threes, whereas James Harden is somebody that's going to hit threes and create a new dynamic for that team. So it's going to be really interesting to see where that goes. Mavericks trade Kristaps Porzingis away for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans to the Wizards. Don't know really how this affects Dallas. I know that they got Porzingis from the Knicks. He hasn't been the player that they wanted him to be. Because when he was with the Knicks, he was one of the better players in the league. And since he's been with Dallas, he's either been injured or just hasn't played up to what they expected him to play to. So they get out of his contract. They bring in a couple really big contracts, though, in Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie. Don't know how really well they're going to mesh with Luka Doncic, their star there. Celtics. Let's see. Okay. And Holiday Gorn Bowl. The Kings trade away a lot. Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson. Tyrese Halliburton, young player. Buddy Hield, one of the best shooters in basketball. They traded him to the Pacers to get Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb in a second. Sabonis, one of the better players at his position, don't really know. A lot of Kings fans I know are pissed about this because Tyrese Halliburton is so young. The main reason for this trade, I think, is to get out of that Buddy Hield contract because he was getting paid a lot of money. And Buddy Hield is very good at shooting the ball, not a great all-around player. So they get out of that contract. They bring in a player in Domantas Sabonis who is immediately going to start. But yeah, I know Kings fans are upset that Tyrese Halliburton is gone. We had some other, I don't want to go over everyone. The James Harden one was the biggest one. I talked about this a lot. Friday, I went and looked at a wedding venue, and I was by myself. So, the whole car ride home, basically, I was just talking about this trade to myself and, trying to figure out how it works for both teams. So, because, that's just what obviously after I go see a wedding venue, that should be what my focus is on. But, so I definitely had to bring that up while I had you guys here. We're going to have to get into more basketball stuff during the offseason because there are going to be weeks during the NFL offseason where things are going to be real boring.
Quidditch.
Yeah, we are. Quidditch maybe not as much.
Okay.
But we are going to get into weird sports. It is something that I've talked about before.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to run the sports episode super long. So when we have sober weeks, we are going to get into some weirder sports and talk about those. And I'll send those out to you so you guys can watch some highlights and clips of that, and we can talk about that.
Throw some clips in the videos, too.
Last
have
thing.
to just to explain what the hell's going on.
Marble racing, that's not self-explanatory. You have to witness that.
You do have to witness that. It is great, though.
Or is it the Marble Olympics?
God, the Marble Olympics. That dude is phenomenal. I need to get his name and make sure I write it down so I can give props to him, because when there was no sports going on because of COVID and everything, I got super into marble racing.
I think I sat there and watched like 4 hours of it with you at one point.
But what we do have coming up Saturday, any of us that can watch it will be watching at the WWE Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
This is the pay-per-view right after the Royal Rumble. We got one more until WrestleMania. So this one's pretty big. This is also probably my top 3 favorite pay-per-views. I love the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah.
You start out with 2 guys in the ring, 4 guys locked in pods, and every 90 seconds or so, one gets released from the pod, and then it's a battle, and it's elimination style. So
It's always a fun one.
per usual, we will go over who we think's going to win. We'll make predictions for it. There will be other matches added, but we're not worried about this. So we have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match, so this one will be in the chamber. And 6 guys: Brock Lesnar,
God damn it.
Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is coming in as a champion. Obviously, we know that from the last pay-per-view when Roman Reigns came out and wrecked Brock Lesnar and gave Bobby Lashley that win. I know a lot of people are saying that they think Brock's going to win because they really want Brock versus Roman. Both of them have the championships fighting at WrestleMania. I don't think that happens. I think if that was going to happen, they would have just left the title on Brock at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to take the title off of Brock, give it to Bobby, to give it right back to Brock 3 weeks later. But sometimes wrestling makes no sense in their decisions. So
True.
I am going with Bobby Lashley.
I don't like any of these choices.
I really don't like one of the choices, and I really do love one of the other choices. But like you just said, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But, me being as stubborn as I am, I'm going to go with Roman Reigns.
He's not in this.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to write him in
I would have put him in there.
Brock
Roman
Lesnar,
Reigns is just going
Brock,
to come in
Seth,
and win.
Oh, Seth Rollins.
Austin Theory, Riddle, AJ Styles, Lashley.
I'm going to go with Ashley.
Bobby Lashley for you too, right?
Yeah.
Again,
Because even if he's losing, Roman Reigns is going to come help him out again.
I mean, I could see that. Screw Brock out of the title again. Make
Yeah.
it 100% certain that they
Which
fight at
then
WrestleMania.
I'll enjoy it. So we'll see. And that would be hilarious, actually, if it happened
Yeah.
twice.
Rollins. It's just
Seth Rollins.
Rollins
Seth
against
freaking
Seth
Rollins.
Rollins
Rollins.
against my brain's just farting all over the place right now.
Rollins
Reigns.
versus Reigns
Yeah.
at Royal Rumble. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, WrestleMania you're
Yeah,
talking about. Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about their match at Royal Rumble.
No.
That was phenomenal.
That was phenomenal.
The other Elimination Chamber match that we have is the number 1 contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship. We already know, because Ronda Rousey won the Royal Rumble, she has picked Charlotte Flair as her opponent for WrestleMania. So this will be for whoever's fighting Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. We've got Doudrop, which is who she had her match against with at Royal Rumble. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, and Bianca Belair. And the other one is to be determined.
I'm going to go with that.
You're going with the
determined is
TBA?
gonna win. That's going to be Paige, by the way, Zach. So.
I'm not holding my breath this time.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I'm going to go with Liv.
But if it is, she's winning.
In a very Ronda Rousey kind of way, just walks in, slaps a bitch,
and
wins.
It's over.
I would love if it is Paige, that would be dope.
That would be. It's not gonna be. But
I'd be so
dope.
excited.
That would be a cool match. Paige versus Becky Lynch would be a great match.
That would be. That'd be
Dewdrop, they just did the Royal Rumble. It wasn't as good as I think a lot of people had hoped. It was a good match, but not great.
It was fine.
Liv Morgan would be great. I think that you have a good choice with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is one of the up-and-coming women wrestlers in that division. She has been so good for months now. She definitely deserves a title shot. Rhea Ripley is a total badass. We saw her with the title a couple of years ago. Nikki Ash, I don't like her character currently, that superhero persona character.
So dumb.
But I do love Nikki as a person, and I wish they would just go back to her old gimmick. I am going with Bianca Belair. I think this is just what they're kind of building to. At SummerSlam, we saw Becky Lynch make her return and beat Bianca Belair within 10 seconds. So I think this is kind of like the redemption that Bianca can come back and have a really good match with Becky, maybe even win the title back at WrestleMania. For the Universal Championship, we do have Roman Reigns versus Bill Goldberg.
Roman.
Here's something to throw in your head. I'm just going to throw this in both of your heads. This pay-per-view is taking place in Saudi Arabia. One thing we have learned from Saudi Arabia is that they love old school wrestlers. So WWE usually likes to pan towards the Saudi Arabian audience by letting these old school wrestlers win.
And is this usually why the women's matches are somewhere else?
No, the women's matches are there.
Oh.
I remember the first match that they ever had there with the women. It was this huge moment. But they have to come out with shirts on. They can't come out like they're usually dressed.
Yeah.
At other WWE events. But
Completely respectful.
I say go with your gut, but I won't be shocked if Goldberg wins here.
See, I could kind of see Goldberg winning, but on the other end, he's technically a retired wrestler.
WWE Hall of Famer.
Coming back to pander to the Saudi Arabian audience. I don't see them changing a storyline just for that pay-per-view. So, Reigns. And if Goldberg wins, I'm not going to be mad. I like Goldberg.
Yeah, it's not going to be like Brock Lesnar.
I'm also going Roman. I do think that the potential is there for Goldberg to win. I just think that if he loses, after all of this time, if Roman loses the title to Goldberg, that's going to be a disappointing way for this title reign to end. And especially since they've already shown that what they're building to is Brock Lesnar versus Roman for the title.
Yeah.
Plus, if Goldberg wins, they're going to have to bring him back.
Yeah, so because...
At another time.
Yeah. I won't be shocked. It's not going to be a long match. It's going to be quick either way. Goldberg has shown that he just can't go in long matches.
Roman will just cheat and get him out quick.
I've got huge arms!
Look at these arms! My arms are extra big. They're extra big.
Ooh.
Next is the Raw Women's Championship match. We have Becky Lynch versus WWE Hall of Famer Lita, who we saw return at the Royal Rumble. This is her coming back to the Royal Rumble is one of the things that they announced before the Royal Rumble even happened, which is annoying. I wish they would just let surprise entrances be surprises.
Cooler. Yeah.
We just talked about this, though. Bianca Belair, I think they are building for Bianca versus Becky.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the title off of Becky Lynch now, you just have to have her win it back probably at the next pay-per-view. I don't think they do that. I'm going Becky Lynch.
Yeah, same.
Unanimous. See, you don't have to bring back old wrestlers.
Oh.
Unless it's
if
Paige.
you don't release your current wrestlers.
That is true. We have a women's tag team match, which is WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville versus Rowdy Ronda Rousey and Naomi.
Ooh. Rousey and Naomi.
Yeah, I'll go that way too.
I'm also. Our picks are going to come down to the Elimination Chamber matches because those are going to be probably the only things we differ on.
Yeah.
I'm going with the same thing. I think that they're building, obviously, to Ronda Rousey and Charlotte.
I don't like it. But...
I don't think Ronda's going to beat Charlotte. I think Ronda will actually end up beating Sonya Deville. But I think Ronda gets the win for sure for the team. Naomi has a good fight. I think her and Charlotte probably fight a lot because they're going to want to eventually build to Charlotte versus Naomi, hopefully. But yeah, I don't see them bringing back Ronda to lose until she decides that she isn't going to wrestle again.
And I just have like my two wrestlers that I can never go for, Lesnar and Charlotte Flair. I just like them with their fire.
Lesnar's definitely mine, and only because he cheated and beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
He didn't cheat.
How long do you think it's going to be until they make the Undertaker come back for a match?
I don't know if he ever will, man.
I don't know either. He's too old.
They've done it twice. They've done it at least 2 times. So
two times more than they should have. I was watching his documentary. They released a documentary on WWE Network, and he said it was because he was only wrestling at WrestleMania because he had the streak where he never lost at WrestleMania until he lost Brock Lesnar.
And he wasn't supposed to lose.
Yeah. So what it would be is he would wrestle at WrestleMania, he would get injured, he would spend months rehabbing, he would be like, okay, I'm not going back, and then he'd get a call from Vince, and he'd be like, I have an idea for a match. Yeah. So then he'd spend a couple months prepping, and then it'd be the same routine, and that's how he spent the last few years of his career. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, unless it's for something quick where he just comes out and hits somebody.
WrestleMania moments.
Yeah.
Like, had he just beat Brock like he was supposed to and retired for good, that would have been the perfect send-off. Unfortunately, he got hurt mid-match and they had to change who was going to win. And stole that win, and I'll never forget him. He's a piece of shit.
You keep telling yourself that, eh? All right, last match that I have on the match card, obviously, like I said, there will be more added. Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. Madcap Moss was in the Rumble. This is probably the easiest match to predict of the night. Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin jumped Drew McIntyre a couple of weeks ago, put a chair on his neck, stomped on the chair. He was supposed to be out for weeks. Drew McIntyre returns at the Royal Rumble, throws Madcap over the ring. Now this is his chance to get redemption, and it's going to happen. Drew McIntyre wins this match.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Yep. It's all down to the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. And really, for me and Aaron, it's literally down just to the women's chamber. Because I went Bianca and she went the 6th grade. Everybody else we matched on. So, watch us all be wrong on all of those.
Low score wins.
So yeah, that'll be next Saturday. I'm super pumped to watch that. Maybe we can, if everybody comes over, maybe we can live stream us watching it or something.
Yeah. As long as we don't get a copyright hit.
As long as we don't.
Some music in the background or something.
That'd be the only.
I mean, we'd have to just put the TV on low volume and.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Yeah. But we might do that. Again, NFL offseason is going to start. We're going to talk about that a lot. Basketball, hockey, those two are not close to the finish, but they're approaching the finish. So we'll get into playoffs when they get into the playoffs. Baseball, if that ever starts back up again.
Marble Olympics.
Yeah, and then random sports. That is something. Like next week, there probably won't be a lot of news for NFL because there never is the week after the Super Bowl, really.
A lot of pictures of the players at Disneyland.
Yeah. So we will maybe we'll look up some random sports for next week's. But outside of that, I don't have a whole lot else for this week. Again, congratulations to the Rams players and coaches and fans and anybody who won an award at the NFL Awards. Super excited for this offseason. I'm excited to see, especially what Denver can do.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately always going to be the biggest topic that we talk about. Once the offseason comes around, anytime the Broncos do something, that'll probably be the longest thing I talk about. So, if you enjoy the Broncos, for sure follow. But if you like the NFL or wrestling or
Just talking about sports.
Or yeah, just any other sports, please give us a like, comment, follow, hit the notification bell. Gavin, who is not with us, is always streaming video games and stuff on his Twitch and on his TikTok, so you can check him out at Boopity Games. Zach.
I am here, actually.
Zach does a lot of movie and TV show reviews. He, as I said in the gaming episode, if you watch that one, Zach watches more TV and movies probably than anybody I know. He keeps up on all the shows that
Try to.
that at least he really cares about. And he's always posting reviews, and you can check out his reviews to stuff on
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at Film Beast. I love to talk with people about those kind of things on there. So hit me up, and you can always chat.
And we will be back next week for 3, 4, 5, 7 episodes.
19
episodes. You ready?
Go for 20.
You ready to edit 20 episodes a week here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Do it to it.
Outside of that, thanks to anybody that watched. We're just going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And we appreciate anybody that watches, and thank you guys for following along, and it is time to
Split.